Take a moment to read Unit 7, Lesson 2, Practice Problem Number 1. In this activity, students are finding the measure of an inscribed angle. Previously, students have been asked to describe the relationship between central and inscribed angles that define the same arc. Throughout this video, I will be showing you an applet to show the relationship, and I will also be using highlighters throughout the video. Before we start, let's go ahead and identify some of the characteristics of inscribed and central angles. So notice this top one here is a central angle. So notice that it's an angle because it has two rays that share an endpoint. Notice that the endpoint here is at the center of our circle, which is called a central angle. And you'll see as I use the applet that the angle measure, how many ever degrees the central angle is, the arc that it creates is going to be the same measure. Okay, when we talk about an inscribed angle, notice that again, it's still an angle. It has two rays that are connected, but notice that this endpoint that they share is not at the center. It is somewhere else on the circle. So in the applet, I will show you how we can identify this value. So let's go ahead and take a look at the applet now. So if you take a look here, notice that we have arc C to Q, and we have a central angle, CAQ, and we have an inscribed angle, CBQ. Notice that it doesn't matter which angle which central or inscribed angle I'm looking at, whether I'm really looking at angle A or angle B, they share the same arc, CQ. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look. This central angle is telling me that C to Q is 96 degrees away from each other. Okay, notice that my inscribed angle, the one that does not go to the center, it appears to be 1/2 the measure of our central angle. Now, I want to show you that this really does hold true. So I'm going to make this a straight line because we know that straight lines are 180 degrees. So notice that I still have a central angle here at angle A, which is 180 degrees. And notice that my inscribed angle is 90 degrees. The thing that we like about using GeoGebra or this online applet to show you is that I can move this around and see that it doesn't change my inscribed angle. It doesn't matter where that point is that my two angles come together. It matters which arc I'm measuring. So for example, let's go ahead and make this a little bit smaller. So notice my central angle is 140 degrees. So that means that arc CQ is 140 degrees. But if I took that to a central angle, if I took that to an inscribed angle, instead of a central angle, it would be half of the measure. And again, it doesn't matter where I put point B, as long as I'm still measuring arc CQ. I know that my inscribed angle is half the measure. And again, we can look at other ones. Let's see. Okay, so if I got it at 83 degrees, notice that's an odd number. Unfortunately, this applet, rounds that number. Okay, so that might be why we're seeing something that's not a decimal here, but we can have decimals, so just know that. All right, let's go back to our question and let's see what it says. It is telling us that the measure of angle AOB is 56 degrees. Notice that if I outlined AOB, so I'm actually going to grab a highlighter here. I'll go ahead and do just a yellow one. They're saying if I measure this angle AOB, that is going to be a 56 degree angle. And they want us, I'm going to mark it in green, this is what we're trying to find. We need to figure out what is the angle measure of ACB. Okay, the first thing I notice in this question is the arc that we are looking at. Notice that I have arc B to A. That is the arc that they both share. So let's go back to our thinking about our applet, right? Our applet said that our central angle has to match with my arc measure. So I know this arc, B to A, is really 56 degrees away. If I want to find my inscribed angle is calculated as 1/2 the central angle. That is how I get my inscribed angle. All right, so let's go ahead and do some of these calculations. So I'm going to do 1/2. I know my central angle is 56 degrees. So I need to figure out what is half of 56. Well, I can do the calculation and see that half of 56 is 28 degrees. So I know that angle ACB, my inscribed angle, has to be 28 degrees. Now I'm going to go ahead and go back to our applet, and I'm going to try to make my picture look as close to this as I can. So I'm going to first get this to be, let's see, 56 degrees. So there we have 56 degrees. And my angle, my inscribed angle is somewhere up here. Okay, so notice that I am able to show using this applet how my inscribed angle is 28 degrees.